All right, let's start it. Who's in the cam? Hi, this is Lori.
This is Peter, and this is Hamilton.
And we're with Action Heroes LA, the subsidiary of Heroes Character Rental Service. One of these days I'm going to be able to get that out. Here to do a special review of a film called The Idolmaker. And we're doing it because we're all big Prince fans. And we found out this was one of his favorite movies.
Yes.
So several weeks ago, we decided to watch it for the first time and check it out. And we kind of we wanted to watch it to see what Prince found why Prince was so fascinated in this movie. Yeah. I think you guys want to play the trailer for it?
Sure.
So, you gotta see the trailer for this movie. Recording. We're gonna watch and monitor here.
With the right handling, you can go all the way. He'll teach you how to move. All we gotta do is loosen it up and bring the talent up to match your face. How to smile. They want Prince Charming, so cute and safe. How to sing. I just want to take you where I'm going. He'll tell you when to think. I told you I wanted movies with Tommy, not television. You got that? When to talk. From now on, you don't go nowhere. You don't leave this house. You don't do nothing. When to love. One of your star reporters was having an affair with one of the idols. And if you're lucky, if you last, he'll make you a star. I can make it happen for you. He's the Idolmaker. Here is my love. Here is my love. The business needs a new teen idol, and Tommy's the one. He's the voice behind the voice. Must be pretty tough to even get played maybe 3 or 4 times a day. He's the face behind the face. There's somebody special. Somebody people are going to want to look at. He's the mind behind the fantasies of millions.
Trailers are long back in, guys.
Well, they didn't give away every little nugget from the film. I could have been somebody.
The Idolmaker, starring Ray Sharkey, Tova Felcher,
Right. Right.
Well, it's good we get the people who are in it.
He could do it for you.
All right,
He can do it.
He can do it. God, I forgot what I was going to say first.
I think that's on his business card.
Oh,
I can do it for you.
So that's the Idolmaker. We see who was in it. The most notable Paul Gallagher. Peter Gallagher.
Peter Gallagher, right?
Peter.
Right.
Peter Gallagher. Ray Sharkey was the Idolmaker. So it's about a guy who was a songwriter, but he realized he's getting into his mid to late 20s, and he realized he doesn't have the look that he needs to sell his song. He writes great songs, but he needs something else to sell it. So he goes and finds these young guys that look good and have great stage presence and makes them a star. Now this
they have great hair too.
Great hair and great eyebrows and things like that. And so, no, but this was based on a true story about the manager of the 50s teen idols, Frankie Avalon and Fabian. So do you guys know anything about, Frankie Avalon is he was in all those beach blanket bingo movies and things. And he went on to acting career as well and is well known. But particularly Fabian was known to be just a pretty face. Right. That was it. That was the whole kind of controversy about him. It's like this guy doesn't really have talent or voice. Mm-hmm. It's just a Fabian. So in this movie, it kind of this is the guy's story, the real guy, Italian guy's story. So what do you guys think I'm talking a lot, so your thoughts on the Idolmaker as it influenced as a movie and as it
Oh
influenced
yeah,
Prince.
you
What's
know,
your
you
impression?
guys, I really like this film. I thought it was. I thought everything about it was interesting. I thought the character story arc was a little different because there's not any major conflicts. Like it just goes through this story and it gets better and better for the main character until there's this sort of like, I'm not trying to give anything away. There's this huge blow up at the
Spoil
end.
everything.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just spoil stuff.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's hard
spoil
too
it.
because it's been several weeks since we watched it. So
I mean, but I mean, but I
the
found
movie
that
came out in the
interesting.
80s.
Right,
Yeah.
it came out in 1980. Right. I found it interesting, and then I enjoyed it, and we watched it. We had a good time, and then I found out afterwards that it didn't do as well as you would think.
it was not a hit.
No.
Not
Yeah.
by any means, and I remember the trailers for movies like this back that particular year. It seems
Right.
like, I don't know, I was 12 or something. So
Right.
and they like really made an impression on me. It's like you're at that age, it's like, oh, I want to go see these movies, but I can't. I have no way of going.
Right. Exactly.
So I remember this. Xanadu came out that year. What else was 1980? Flash. Remember Flash? The Queen soundtrack?
Yeah.
Flash that came out that
yeah,
year.
Okay.
So there are a lot of like
Empire Strikes Back came out.
well,
in
there's a
1980.
lot of notorious bombs, and maybe because Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, is such a juggernaut that
Yeah.
a lot of things kind of got lost in the shuffle. There's some other
It
ones,
just
but-
seeme to me like the type of film that would have had a second life
Oh.
on video.
Okay.
And it never
Well,
really
the
did.
jazz singer, but we got to remember this is a time period when home video wasn't quite
Okay.
Yeah.
there. You didn't have rental places really then.
Right.
I mean that home video. Oh gosh, I remember we probably had our first like Betamax machine, which
Right.
was the size of a suitcase.
Right.
And I remember being excited about having this machine. It's like, oh my gosh, when Star Wars comes out on tape and we get to have it and can watch it as many times as we
Exactly.
want, but like a videotape costs like a movie costs like
Yeah,
$100 at
that's
least.
true.
And if you think that's pricey now, think about it 40 years ago, how much
Yeah.
$100 was
That
worth.
was a lot.
So yeah, you didn't really
so that's
have.
why they were probably only, like, you could get porn stuff on video.
Well, that's a whole other conversation. But actually, the video,
Whatever you were doing back then, Peter.
the VCR
No,
kind of saved the
not
porn
me.
industry, actually. But that's the
No,
most-
yeah, that's right. You didn't. The VCR had been developed. It was starting to show up in homes. Like the most affluent had it, and I think we had
Right.
like a hand-me-down one that somebody gave to my dad to fix, and he fixed it and kept it.
Right.
And those things were
Yeah, I remember
big.
when they
Like
had
I said,
that
it was like a
Betamax
suitcase.
machine. Yeah.
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 So, but you didn't have rental stores quite yet. You had to buy videos, and they were like $100.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I was
I
saying
remember
more
that.
like in the sense of like rentals and like, for example, like HBO.
Lady-
I would have thought it would have had a second life.
it might have had a life
cable.
back then, but it's just like it's kind of. I would say that kind of stuff took off around '82 or something like that.
Yeah.
And really
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
When it
'cause
hit
didn't
us-
they only have, like, on TV?
on TV.
Yeah, on and select.
What was
Select
it?
TV.
So, on TV, select TV.
Well, they had
No,
another.
you
They had another thing called the Z Channel, but that
even
wasn't.
prior to
That
that.
was only in certain parts of LA.
You're gonna bring back in television and stuff.
Exactly.
So let's get back to the movie.
Okay.
So it's about this character played by Ray Sharkey, who's the songwriter. He realizes he needs somebody with the look to sell his songs. He's like,
Right.
I'm too old. I know they're not going to accept me. He had the
Right.
foresight of that. So he finds one guy playing in the usual bar that he plays in. This guy named Tommy D, who's a saxophone player, and he's like, no, this kid's got moves. He's got a look. He plucks him out, has him, records a song with him, and starts taking him around to touring little high schools. And having little teenage girls fall in love with this guy, making him a teen idol.
Right.
And so, and it's interesting,
Excuse-
because it's you don't usually get the story from the artist's perspective and how the management is, oh my gosh, they're slave driving me or they're ripping me off. So it was interesting to see it from the different perspectives. It's like, no, you do what I say, do things this way, and you'll be a success. Listen to me, kind of thing. So that's what, and comparing it to Prince, and we'll get into this more, and you can see during Prince's era, from about 1980 to about 86, is when he was in his Idolmaker years. He had various bands that he was doing all the music for, pretty much. He had The Time, he had Vanity Six, eventually he had The Family, he had Madhouse, Maserati. He was writing songs for different artists like Sheena Easton,
Sugar Walls.
the Bangles. We don't
Right.
play. That's kind of a lost Prince classic, honestly.
Shaka Khan.
Yeah, well, Shaka Khan.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
That was a different situation because I
Yeah.
think she just took the
She
song
took
and
the
did it
song.
without really,
Yeah.
being. It wasn't produced by him.
Yeah.
So he was right. He had all of these concept artists that he was the one. Like, okay, you're gonna be the cool funk band. You're gonna wear zoot suits. Put your hand in your pocket and just be cool.
Right.
Do what I say, and I'll do all the music.
Yes.
And you present yourself this way. With female group, you're going to be in lingerie. You're going to look this. We're going to call you Vagina, and Vanity said, "Hell no."
Vanity
So he
said,
came back with Vanity.
no.
But this is what your stage show is about. Here are the songs, and he was controlling all of that stuff. And hearing stories from, and a shout out to the Once Upon a Time in Minneapolis series done by Cynic 22 on YouTube, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
kind of
for
hear
sure.
how controlling he was at the time. So.
Yeah. I don't know, Peter. I want you to try
Yeah.
in.
No, I halfway liked the movie. It
Okay.
was okay, so
Yeah.
I could see why it didn't make a lot of money
Yeah, I
at
can
the
see
box office. But I saw so much in the movie on, that's the road Prince took.
Yeah.
Although it is the road that a lot of businessmen take, or businesswomen or managers.
Well, there's usually
you
the
have
ones
to do it this way.
Yeah, usually the ones that are Svengaliing some kind of young artist, or or
I'm sorry.
you can think about anything. Especially later years, I think about like the boy bands, like New Edition had their guy. New Kids on the Block, I think they had the same guy. Whoever's in charge of Britney Spears and the NSYNCs they all have.
Yeah.
They usually have somebody controlling
The
their
New
image.
Kids on the Block and Backstreet Boys.
All the Backstreet Boys, yeah.
And NSYNC all had.
Yeah,
the
I mean, this
same
is
people.
you can even go back. Well, you can go back to the Monkees and stuff. This is kind of like we're going back to the '50s with Fabian and Frankie Avalon. So
No, I
No,
take it
but
back.
I
The
didn't-
New Kids had a different person.
But I didn't really care for the movie because I thought the acting was a little
Okay.
off. But
Interesting.
after a while, I really did get into the movie.
Right.
I saw the different aspects, and I guess I looked at the movie more for what it was. This guy doing this, like you said, this writer saying, okay, I need to put you out there. This is what you need to do.
this is how you need to dress.
Right.
This is how you need to act.
This is when you need to speak. This is when you need not to speak.
These are the
So-
dance moves. I love the scene. He's like backstage
Right.
because Tommy D is out on the stage like this. I think is behind us, and he's doing the dance moves and the
Right.
choreography.
Oh, man,
Right,
that
right.
was great. He was in the back. He's in the background, and you see him doing the exact same moves.
Exactly.
And everything. It's just like, oh, this is great. This is really, really good. So, and in the movie, you can see a couple of things that Prince actually used
Right. I'm gonna watch it.
Right.
in Purple Rain.
Right.
So, there was a couple scenes that you said, wait a minute, that's the exact same scene.
I think that was one thing I
so
really liked.
I just
about
really,
this film.
really loved the movie. at the end, I just really kind of fell in love with the movie.
Right.
I can see it again.
Right.
I don't know if I can see it 3 times, but
I don't know. I mean, I want to say I can see why this film might not be as big as I thought it might have been or whatever. Because I liked it, and I even liked the acting. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's the story doesn't captivate people.
Yeah, it kind of runs out of steam.
Yeah.
I think you get to this
true.
point where Cesare, which I love that kind of made up name, that was his second artist that the guy took under his wing and wanted to develop into a star, and that's played by Peter Gallagher.
Right.
And when he hits his first stage performance and the build up to that, and when the performance happens, kind of the movie kind of goes downhill after that, because that's
totally.
the high point of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it comes about almost halfway through, or
that's true.
So and then there's not a lot of
really.
conflicts.
Yeah.
They are conflicts, but they're kind of small.
Yeah.
And there's no major, drama.
There's nothing
carry it out.
There's no conflict in the sense of the main characters like drawn between. Do I want to keep doing this, or do I want to do something else?
I want to be the star?
Do I want to be the star? There's none of that.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it doesn't.
He's
moves along.
There's also the deal to kind of like the mob ties that he has with this. He's kind of working with some mob guys as well, and nothing really. You don't think, the mob's going to be after him for not whatever. or something, wants their extra cut or wants to take over. Or not, they did take over some of the. Well, Tommy D left and. Well, anyway, there was some controversy. It just they weren't played real big for a lot of drama.
It's like I said before. It's like it starts out. He has a little success, then he has more, and then he's like he's really successful. Then and then there's a blow up at the end.
Yeah, well, mainly like I said, it's Tommy D decides to go to Hollywood. He gets offered a TV series and stuff, and. The Idolmaker is like, no, wait, we're waiting for film, dude. Don't just accept TV. That's not enough.
Yeah,
So, but he has his other artists, and the other artist is kind of like sneaking off and he's keeping the guy controlled and under wraps and not letting him go anywhere or do anything.
Right.
But one thing I just wanted to bring up was it's kind of it's just the Idolmaker. It's just how much image sells for musical artists, because when he gets his second artist, Cesare, which is spelled like Caesar, basically, but they pronounce it Cesare, which cracks me up. They don't. He holds back. He doesn't release any music from him. He's just posting his photo, his headshot around town, and just building up kind of this mystery thing.
Right.
And you think it's kind of interesting. Like, we know Prince as being like one of the greatest musician of our time.
Right.
Maybe in the last 50 years. He had no problem writing great songs, but he was so conscious of this image thing. Yeah. And that he knew he had to present this image. How important image was that. And even the mystery, setting up the mystery behind himself, you could see in this movie, with the Cheshire character. They set up this mystery. They're just posting pictures of him. And they're delaying when they're going to have him actually perform and until they have that peak moment. It's like...
I think that's one thing I really found interesting about this film is the way they show how important the image is for an artist, and then how a person would go about creating that image, how much work it goes into it. Because like the whole time you only see pictures of this guy behind the scenes, he's practicing.
He's grooming him.
He's
working him to get the moves right, sing right. You know, everything has to be spot on. Getting the clothes right, the look. Very conscious of image. And where was I going? Somebody else speak while I gather my thoughts.
Well, there is this part with that second actor that. Like you said, they were just posting pictures. But when he first went on stage, remember, he just messed up.
Oh, he
couldn't sing right. He couldn't do anything. And the guy more or less told him, come here.
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you to do this?
Right.
Didn't I tell you to do that? Do this, do that. Don't worry about that. And when he went back out there, it was like gold.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What I wanted to bring up was a story that Gail Chapman, who was the keyboardist in Prince's band very early on, a story she's told. He's like, he took her out one day to go shopping for clothes. It's like, you can't be wearing the stuff you're wearing. She was like a little hippie girl.
Right.
And she admits and stuff. So he got her like lingerie. It's like, if you want to be a rock star, you have to start dressing like you want. You have to dress the part, you have to act the part, you have to live the part. And that's what you're seeing. It's interesting to see that in this movie. That, it's like, when did he see this movie? When did he get these ideas? Or did it just confirm his own ideas? I do think it's interesting because we see the fallout eventually of the artists, each of his artists kind of getting their own independence and leaving him. How that happened to Prince too. You exert too much control, people want to, of course, wiggle out of it and get out of that. So it's funny to see this movie. It's like, didn't you see how this guy lost control of his band, and it ended up with him with more staying the time. Vanity left, Vanity 6, and took off, and everything sort of fell apart.
Yeah.
In terms of all these side bands and projects around like 1986, a lot of them like
that's
being
kind of
offered.
What happens in this film,
right? Yeah, it does. Which is like, you're thinking you probably saw this before.
Yeah,
it's like cautionary
you
tale,
would think
dude.
it would have been
But the thing is, when you're in the middle of it,
right? You probably don't think about it.
You don't think about it. You don't see it.
No.
You're just thinking about, look,
everything's working.
Just keep doing this.
Yeah.
Keep doing what I'm saying. It's working. Where you guys are huge. You're doing.
I agree. It's ironic.
Yeah.
In retrospect, that the
although
same
he
thing
wasn't
happened
paying
to
them
him
like
that happens in this film. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of truths that are sort of revealed about fame, and like no one just usually just becomes famous. There's usually a lot of work that goes into building someone's image and getting people interested in that person.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I've seen it as, and it's a grip that you have on it. And I've seen, okay, so you're holding your hand like this. So nothing escapes from your hand.
But nothing gets in either.
Nothing can get in either.
Yeah. So it's a give and take.
Yeah.
I think with Prince, someone as talented as Prince, it's crazy to think, what if his career never really took off, or if people didn't understand how talented he really was, because maybe he didn't get to a certain point, before where his career could take off and he could do whatever he wanted, So, yeah, fame and image is really important in a person's level of fame that they can achieve. And I don't think people who are really famous, I don't think it happens by accident. Like, it's a lot of hard work.
Oh, it is.
A lot of luck.
Even like somebody like Britney Spears, who I didn't have a lot of respect for back when she was, in her prime. But I did understand. You know what? She did work really hard.
Yeah, she did.
Maybe she's not the most natural talent singer or anything, but to do the dance moves and the tour and the lifestyle, it's work.
I think the luck of it comes in when you consider that even though you can try to manipulate your image, sometimes if that doesn't really work, then like that's the downside too of trying to break through and be famous. It could backfire or whatever, So I don't know. Prince seemed to understand certain aspects of what people wanted or expected from an artist.
Yeah. Well, he knew he wanted to be a star. He wanted to be big, and these are the things you had to do. I mean, considering how talented he was as a musician, it's like you would think, you were the most amazing musician of anybody at the time, and why would you think you need that? But you do. You've got a lot of amazing musicians sitting in a garage like this somewhere that you've never heard of. Honestly. And so I do want to get back one more thing about image. Looking at Peter Gallagher's eyebrows in this film, I think I see another Prince influence there.
Right. I want to say, I thought
what's
Peter
that-
Gallagher. I think this is maybe one of the best roles I've seen him in.
I know he's been
He
in a
really
lot of stuff.
transforms.
He's had a nice long career since his like
Yeah,
hot
for sure.
teen idol days.
Right.
So it's kind of fun to see him in this because I've never seen him doing singing and dancing like that. I'm like,
No.
oh my gosh, look at Peter Gallagher.
But he was very believable. I like Ray Sharkey's character. You know, like I said, there's never a plateau of like different emotions throughout the film. It's pretty much it's good. It gets better, then it gets really good, which I don't have a problem with. But I thought Ray Sharkey was good, a good lead character for this film.
Yeah, he got a lot of critical raves for his performance.
Yeah.
He does command the screen.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I like Gallagher's dad, with the hammer and the...
You don't get that, Larky?
What?
The comedian Gallagher, the
Oh,
prop comedian.
gosh.
Oh. I knew he was going there. Though. I was like, I bet he's gonna say Gallagher.
That wasn't his dad?
With the hair kind of like mine.
That's a
and
different Gallagher. I think he's what's that other
hat
guy
on or
with
the
the
belt.
orange hair? What's his name?
Oh, you're thinking of Carrot Top.
I think he's Carrot
He's the
Top's
son of-
dad for sure.
Oh, he's Carrot Top's dad?
Well,
I didn't know
he
that.
gave birth to the whole prop comedian
Gallagher from way back. He
trope or
used to
whatever.
hit watermelons with sledgehammers.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That-
and
that's him,
audience
right?
would pay to be
That's
in the front
him,
row.
yeah.
That's his dad?
No.
That's not his dad. No, I don't know whose dad he is. Let's hope we never see the offspring of Gallagher rear its ugly head.
Wait, Peter
So-
Gallagher has kids?
I don't know.
Who's on
Probably.
first?
I know, huh? Exactly. Exactly. You guys, I just want to say I'm glad
The
we
password is it? No.
What?
The password is
what?
what?
I thought who was on first.
Enter right.
I want to say I'm glad we watched this film because we had a really interesting conversation afterwards. I thought about
Maybe we should have taped that one.
Yeah, I felt like, man, I wish we had somehow recorded that, and that would have been the best review we could have done for this film. But yeah, I mean, I recommend this film for anyone who hasn't heard of it.
One of these days we'll review Purple Rain.
Yeah, we need to do that, and Under the Cherry Moon.
Oh my. I don't know if this was a movie when I saw it. I was hilarious.
I saw it,
But I don't
didn't
think I've
it was
seen
great,
it
but I like Prince,
since
so I
then.
didn't care. Yeah, I've seen it once since then.
I don't think I've seen it too.
I have it on DVD. So.
If you want to get an album, where you go?
Record Stove.
To the record
Record Stove.
Prince jokes now.
That was one of his. Apparently,
Okay.
that was one of his jokes he was telling people around that time.
Yeah, it
'cause
was
I've heard other people mention.
They
that.
had quite a few of his jokes. But
Like-
that's a whole different morning.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So,
Sorry, my bad.
finally, there is hilarious. I talk about that high point of the movie when Peter Gallagher's character Cesare has his first performance, his first big performance, and he does a couple of moves that Prince totally stole, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
The little split.
Or maybe
thing.
he was giving tribute to it or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, maybe he was.
Yeah.
It's totally hilarious.
I don't
to
think
see
he
that
was
stuff.
apt for stealing so much. I
Yeah.
think
He borrowed it.
cared about
Yeah, he
being
didn't
original.
steal it. He borrowed
He's like,
it.
nobody's seen this movie. They're not going to
Yeah.
notice I take this move.
They didn't see it.
So they
They didn't see it.
they just if you don't know, then hey, it's not hurting anyone, right?
Yep.
No one saw the film. But I just want to say, for anyone who's watching this review, I hope we didn't spoil it for
Yeah.
you, but definitely, if you haven't seen this film already, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a lost classic or anything like that, but it's not a bad film. And
It's an interesting film to watch, you know.
For me-
and the late Olivia Dukakis is in it. Well, she just
Oh,
passed
wow.
away recently. But it's an interesting. It's where there's a free version on YouTube right now. You can
exactly.
Google it, YouTube it, and find out and check it out and leave some interesting. If you have any interesting comments to make, you can leave them in the comments. Any other final words here? What about the Idolmaker maker for our resident Prince impersonator extraordinaire, Peter? Where are those photos? I need to have them.
No.
The videos.
I just thought it was a good movie. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good movie. That it probably should have done better. Should have had a better box office at the time, but I think there was just something going on with musical 50s based movies at that time that seemed to be tanking.
I just think,
And
people were
Star Wars
and Empire Strikes Back was out. So
I think a mediocre film from the '80s could still be considered like a really good film by other decades. Standards.
that's a good point, because watching this is like, wow, this is actually pretty good. Compared, it's not a bad movie like I would be used to a bad movie.
Yeah, like I mean, like a film like Heaven's Gate was considered a bomb, but that's actually a really it has a lot of
there's
qualities.
a bomb in the sense of it's not very good, or there's a bomb in the sense that just people didn't go out to see it for whatever reason and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So Ray Sharkey, Peter Gallagher, Maureen
Olivia
McCormick from the
Dukakis.
Brady Bunch pops up. Olivia Dukakis.
Right.
Joey Pantalone, Joey Pants is in this. And check it out, the Idolmaker on YouTube. So we out.
We out. Okay, a little thumbs up or whatever.
I like to clap.
What?
I gave the stupid. Hey,
Password is on anyway. We out.